So one thing I've noticed recently in the Apple rumor mill is iPhone Fold rumors. You heard me right. Apple is allegedly working on a foldable that's set to release in September 2022. So that's technically less than 2 years away. And yeah, it just seems a little shady to me. I can't lie, I don't see Apple working on a foldable, especially in the state they're in right now. Because let's be honest, as cool as foldables are, because I totally love the Galaxy Z Fold 2, I think it's an absolutely amazing phone, I don't see Apple doing something as experimental as that, because there are some clear issues with the Z Fold 2, and the great thing about Samsung is that they don't ship many folds, and I feel like the fold is really not for the mass consumer, whereas if Apple launches a foldable, it definitely will be touted towards the mass consumer, and at any price, I think there will be consumers out there who buy this solely because it's an Apple product, and when consumers get a hold of those plastic displays, that's just gonna wreak havoc, and yeah, I don't think Apple wants that marketing nightmare. And so today, let's delve into all these leaks with a humongous grain of salt, because both the sources and the information itself is all very shady. So definitely don't come at me in 2022 saying, hey, you claimed the fold will happen, whereas the iPhone Fold, because this could all be a fantasy. So yeah, with that being said, let's just delve in, make sure to like and subscribe, click that bell notification, and with that being said, let's just tuck in. So the first piece of information comes from Economic Daily News. Now, these guys have an accuracy of 30%. So yeah, remember when I said take all this information with a humongous grain of salt? That's why. But anyways, Apple has apparently sent a few foldables to Foxconn for evaluation, particularly the hinge mechanism and how it holds up to being repeatedly opened and closed. Because obviously, much like a laptop, a foldable is going to be opened and closed many times during its life. And especially with an iPhone, this is going to be something that people use over an extended period of time. So it should be reliable, and I'm happy that Apple is allegedly testing this before they go into mass production. Now, it's safe to say the display supplier will be Samsung because they're the king of foldable OLEDs, but apparently Apple is debating between Mini LED and OLED, because obviously Mini LED has some advantages over OLED, namely the lack of burn-in, but at the same time, OLED has matured to a point where burn-in is really not an issue anymore, so I guess they can use both. Of course, I do hope that Apple doesn't use the UTG glass layer on the screen like Samsung does, because let's be honest, UTG glass is essentially plastic with some glass bits here and there. So yeah, it's not exactly gonna be reliable, but I guess the silver lining is that Corning, which obviously partners with Apple very often to make their displays, is apparently working on foldable glass. Now, I have no clue how foldable glass is even possible, but if they come up with some magic abilities to do that, then I will be a very happy man, because honestly, the biggest worry I have about owning a foldable is the plastic display, and so if Apple were to fix that and give us a glass display like every other phone, then I'll totally be on board. Now, of course, some people are probably wondering how this foldable iPhone will look like, and unfortunately, it doesn't sound too great. So there was a patent filed back in 2016 by Apple where they had two separate displays connected by a hinge, much like, you know, the Surface Duo, and unfortunately we have John Prosser, another very credible Apple leaker, claiming that Apple has indeed went with that design. Now, I'm not too sure how I feel about that, because of course a hinge right in the middle of your viewing experience is going to be pretty irritating. I would prefer it to be much like the Galaxy Z Fold 2, but again, at the same time, the Surface Duo does have a more reliable design, so I guess it does kind of make sense for Apple to take that route. But yeah, hopefully they can have the best of both worlds. In terms of other details about this design, John also told us the prototype has rounded stainless steel edges much like the iPhone X instead of the new boxy design of the iPhone 12. Though of course, the design could completely change by the time we get to the final production stage. Also, this device does have an outer display much like the Galaxy Z Fold 2, and apparently will have a small notch for Face ID. So basically, it'll be an iPhone on the front and then this iPad on the inside. And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of excites me, because an issue I have with the Galaxy Z Fold 2 is that it has Android, and Android is just not optimized for bigger displays, whereas Apple has the advantage of having iPad OS. So imagine having iPhone OS or iOS on the front display, and then having iPad OS on the inner display where you can do split screen and obviously do all the multitasking you want. And of course, on the outer display, it will just be bog standard iOS. I think that would be absolutely amazing. Now, of course, all this amazingness will come at a pretty hefty price, and yeah, it's pretty hefty. So Apple will apparently be charging $1,500 for this iPhone Fold, according to the Verifier, who is slightly more accurate at 50%. So again, take all this information with a grain of salt, but it does seem pretty realistic. Because of course, the Galaxy Z Fold 2 is $2,000 right now, and by the time this technology gets slightly cheaper to make in around 2 years, I can see, the price being maybe $500 cheaper. So 1.5K does make a lot of sense. But what's really odd about this leak is that we tend to not know much about prices right before the announcement. If you take a look at all the iPhone leaks we've had in the past, price is really something that leakers are never really able to confirm, and we only find out about them a few days before release. So again, this is very dodgy information. It could be all wrong. But yeah, I'm telling you guys because, well, you might be interested. The Verifier also says this will have 8 GB of RAM, which will be great for multitasking on this device, and 256 gigs of storage, which honestly does seem pretty low for a device that's 1.5K. But you know what? Apple's always been kind of stingy with storage, so it is to be expected. And that's pretty much everything we know about the iPhone Fold. I keep referring it to the iPhone Fold because we don't know the name of this device, but knowing Apple, it's going to be Pro Max 6G Ultra something long. So yeah, expect the name to be pretty terrible. But apart from that, I am looking forward to this foldable if it happens. Again, huge asterisk, because obviously Apple is a very safe company when it comes to things. They don't experiment very often, so the fact they'll be jumping into the foldable game this early is definitely quite surprising. So again, as I said at the beginning, take all this information with a huge grain of salt, but if it ends up being true, I am very, very excited. I mean, this could be an iPad mini you could use on the go, and that just blows my mind. I would love that. So yeah, definitely pumped for this. And on that note, I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, click that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one, peeps. See ya.